The sky above Earth glowed with unusual lights that night. Cities across the planet reported strange signals, flickering in the satellites and skies alike. People stared at the heavens, uncertain and afraid. Some whispered about natural phenomena. Others imagined alien invasions. Yet no one was prepared for what was really coming. Deep in orbit, a massive alien vessel appeared suddenly. It was unlike anything human technology had ever created. The ship was enormous, sleek, and dark, with shapes that twisted and moved as if alive. Its size blocked the stars behind it, and its presence made satellites tremble under its gravitational pull. Earth's space agencies were alarmed. Military forces scrambled. Communications teams tried to make contact, sending messages in every possible frequency. Humanity expected an attack. For decades, the galaxy's history had painted aliens as dangerous and aggressive. Earth had survived skirmishes on the borders of the solar system, but those encounters were distant. This visitor had arrived uninvited and close. The Council of Nations convened an emergency meeting in Geneva. Scientists, diplomats, and military leaders argued fiercely. "Whatever this is, we cannot underestimate it," said Commander Rao, the head of Earth's space defense. His face was stern, eyes fixed on the live feeds from the approaching ship. "It could destroy our satellites, our stations, even cities on the ground. We should try to communicate peacefully first," said Dr. Mera, a leading xenologist. "We don't know its intentions yet. If we act too aggressively, we might provoke an unnecessary war." As debates continued, the alien vessel stopped moving. It hovered silently in orbit, as though observing the planet below. No weapons fired, no signals emitted. Then, a single communication channel opened, an unexpected, direct link to Earth's global networks. A figure appeared on every screen, tall, elegant, and radiating authority. The being had a humanoid form, but with shimmering violet skin and eyes that glowed faintly. Her presence alone commanded attention. She was the alien queen, Kyra, leader of the Xiphorian species. "I'm Queen Kyra," she spoke, her voice calm but powerful. "I come to your planet with an offer of peace. But this offer has a condition. If you wish to avoid war, one human must join me in a bond of marriage alliance. Only then will peace endure." The room fell silent. People blinked at the screen, unsure if they had heard correctly. A marriage to an alien queen? The council members exchanged shocked glances. Murmurs and whispers filled the chamber. This cannot be serious," said Ambassador Lyre, shaking his head. "We are talking about a single human representing all of Earth, pledging themselves in marriage to an alien. How is that possible?" Kyra's image remained serene. "In my culture, marriage is a binding promise, a symbol of unity and trust. It is not only personal, it is political. This bond will prevent bloodshed and ensure cooperation. Choose wisely, humans. For the future of your species depends on it." News outlets across the globe erupted. People gathered in front of screens, watching the Queen speak. Families debated, leaders argued. Religious groups, scientists, and politicians all tried to interpret what this could mean. Fear mixed with curiosity. Some were skeptical, suspecting trickery. Others wondered if this was humanity's chance to make peace without war. Meanwhile, Earth's Council had to act fast. A team of diplomats, scientists, and leaders was assembled to discuss the next step. Their goal was to communicate back and select a human representative. The process was tense. Everyone knew that choosing the wrong person or refusing the offer could lead to disaster. Amid this tension, a young diplomat named Rian was selected. He was known for his intelligence, calm nature, and ability to handle complex situations. Unlike other leaders, he had no political ambitions, only a strong desire to protect humanity. Rian felt the weight of the responsibility immediately. He would meet the alien queen face to face, and his decisions could save millions of lives. Rian prepared for the journey to the Xiphorian ship. He studied every available piece of information about the alien species, their biology, culture, and history of warfare. The Xiphorians were powerful and highly organized. Their technology far exceeded human capabilities. Any misstep could be fatal. But Rian also understood that they were capable of diplomacy. This was his only chance to prevent a war. The human vessel carrying Rian approached the Xiphorian ship. Its size was overwhelming. The docking bay opened smoothly, as if expecting them inside. The ship was unlike any human design. Lights flowed along walls in fluid patterns. Holographic displays hovered midair. Every surface seemed alive. Almost organic, Rian's heart raced. He had seen human warships and research stations, but nothing prepared him for this, finally. He met her Queen Kyra. She was taller than any human he had ever met, regal. With violet skin that shimmered subtly, her eyes glowed faintly, intelligent and curious. She spoke with a calm authority that made Rian feel both small and respected at the same time. "Welcome, human," she said. "You are the first to meet me directly. I understand your hesitation. I did not ask for this lightly. But my offer is genuine. Peace can be achieved, but only with trust." Rian bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, I am honored. I will do my best to understand your terms and protect humanity's future. But I must know why select a human for this." Kyra's eyes softened briefly. "Because your species is strong, adaptable, and capable of thought and courage that even I admire. War could destroy many worlds. Peace can save them. This choice is a test not only for you, but for all humans." As they talked, Rian sensed something unexpected. The queen was not just a ruler. She was intelligent, careful, and thoughtful. Her offer of marriage was not impulsive or cruel, it was strategic. Yes, but also sincere. Rian realized that understanding her motives would be the key to negotiating peace back on Earth. People watched the first live feed from inside the Xiphorian ship. The world waited in tense silence. Would this be the beginning of a historic alliance, or the start of a conflict unlike any humanity had faced before? For now, the answer rested in the hands of one human diplomat and one alien queen whose proposal had already stunned the planet. Rian stood at the entrance of the vast chamber aboard the Xiphorian ship. The walls glowed softly with a color that seemed alive, shifting as he walked. Every step echoed faintly in the high ceiling, and he could feel the strange energy of the ship vibrating through the floor. This was not just a vessel, it was a living symbol of the alien race's intelligence and power. Queen Kyra awaited him in the center of the room. She did not sit on a throne or wear crowns. Instead, she stood tall, regal, and calm. Her eyes met Rian's, glowing faintly with curiosity. He felt both respect and unease. He had been trained to negotiate, but this was unlike any meeting in human history. "Welcome, human," Kyra said, her voice clear and strong. "I am pleased you came willingly. Few from your species would dare step aboard my ship without fear." Rian bowed slightly. "Your Majesty, I am honored to meet you. I come to understand your intentions and speak on behalf of humanity. We wish to avoid conflict, but we must know why you require a marriage for peace." Kyra's gaze softened. "In my culture, marriage is a binding promise. It is not only personal, it represents trust between groups. My proposal is a symbol of unity. Your species is strong, and I believe your courage can be trusted. But symbols are necessary to ensure that both sides respect the peace." Rian listened carefully. He had expected arrogance or threats, but there was none. She spoke honestly, calmly, and with careful thought. He realized that if she was capable of this level of diplomacy, then humans would need equal intelligence and care to navigate the situation. He took a deep breath. "I understand your point, but we must also consider our people. No human representative can make a choice that affects all without counsel. We need to understand the risks fully." Kyra nodded. "I expected this. That is why I will show you more of my people, their way of life, and their values. Trust is earned through understanding." For the next few hours, Rian was guided through the Xiphorian ship. He saw vast halls filled with advanced machinery, laboratories, and training areas. Xiphorians moved with grace and precision, each performing tasks that seemed impossible for humans. Some operated complex devices, while others managed energy systems with gestures that controlled immense power. Your species has technology, Rian said. But it seems your knowledge of energy and matter is far beyond ours. Kyra's expression was calm. We have lived longer among the stars, and our survival depended on learning quickly. Yet, your species has unique strengths. You adapt, improvise, and think creatively. That is why I have come to you. We cannot ignore potential allies. As they walked, Rian noticed small details about her culture. Despite the advanced technology, there was an elegance in everything. Even the simplest device had beauty and purpose. He began to understand that this was a civilization not only built for power, but for harmony and balance. Finally, they entered a room filled with holographic images of planets and star systems. Kyra gestured to them. These are worlds we influence and protect. Some resist our rules and prefer war. But I wish to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. Peace with your species can strengthen both of us. Rian studied the images carefully. He saw planets with thriving cities and worlds reduced to ruins from wars he had only read about. I see why peace is important, he said quietly. Your offer may prevent countless deaths, but can humanity trust you? Kyra's gaze met his. Trust is difficult. I do not ask for blind faith. That is why you are here. Rian, observe, question, and understand. Decide if our intentions are true. Then, speak to your people honestly. Rian felt the weight of her words. She was giving him a choice, a real chance to understand her motives and make a decision. He realized that humanity had never faced diplomacy like this before. Every choice carried consequences, not just for him, but for billions of people. They continued their discussion late into the Zyphorian night. Rian asked questions about their culture, about the meaning of marriage, and about their history with other species. Kyra answered patiently, clearly, and sometimes with quiet humor when a human misunderstanding occurred. You are different from others, she said at one point, her glowing eyes studying him. You do not demand war. You seek understanding. That is rare. That is why I chose you to speak with me directly. Rian's chest tightened. He felt both honor and fear. One human had never been in this position before. He was alone on an alien ship, speaking with a ruler whose power could destroy entire planets. Yet, he also felt hope. If he could succeed, he might save humanity from war and open a new path to the stars. Before returning to Earth, Kyra made one final point. You will need to convince your leaders and your people. They may doubt me, doubt you, or doubt the idea of this bond. Yet, they must see the truth. Humans have the potential to grow beyond fear. Show them the value of trust. Rian nodded. I will do my best, but I cannot promise all will agree. Kyra smiled faintly. Then you must show them, not just with words, but with action. Trust is built through deeds, not promises. When Rian returned to Earth, the world awaited his report. Journalists, leaders, and citizens crowded the communications rooms. He explained what he had seen, the intelligence of the Zyphorians, their culture, and Kyra's sincere desire for peace. He recounted her offer and her reasons for choosing a human representative. Many were skeptical. A marriage alliance with an alien. How can we trust her? People asked. Others were hopeful. If it prevents war, we should listen. Humanity must show courage. Rian understood the weight of the decision. The future of Earth could hinge on this proposal. But he also believed in his mission. Kyra's offer was bold, but it was genuine. Humanity's chance for peace and a new role in the galaxy depended on understanding and courage. As the meeting ended, Rian looked out at the stars. Somewhere, aboard the Zyphorian ship, Kyra waited. Their journey had only just begun. The path forward was uncertain, but it was the first step toward a future where humans might earn a place among the stars. Not as conquerors, but as allies and partners. The world held its breath. A single human envoy and an alien queen's bold proposal had changed everything. Back on Earth, Rian's return sparked intense debates. World leaders gathered in the largest assembly hall in Geneva, joined by scientists, diplomats, and military experts. Screens displayed images and recordings from the Zyphorian ship, and everyone listened carefully as Rian explained what he had seen and heard. He described Kyra's intelligence, her calm and honest approach, and the elegance of her society. Yet he also reminded them of the stakes. Her species has the power to destroy cities, entire regions, and even satellites. This is not a threat, it is a reality. We must act wisely. The council was divided. Some argued that any alliance through marriage was unnatural and dangerous. We cannot allow a single human to make such a binding promise. Ambassador Lyre said, shaking his head, this could compromise Earth forever. How do we know we can trust her? Others, however, saw opportunity. War would destroy millions of lives, said Dr. Mara, the xenologist. If this proposal leads to peace, we must consider it seriously. We cannot ignore the chance for a new era of cooperation. Rion listened quietly. He understood both sides. Humans were naturally cautious, and fear of the unknown ran deep. But he also knew that Kyra's offer was genuine. She had not threatened them blindly. She had offered a way to prevent war. To settle doubts, Rion proposed a demonstration. He suggested that the Xiphorians show their technology and their capacity for restraint. If humanity could see that their power was real, yet controlled, it might build trust. Kyra agreed. A few days later, a live demonstration was arranged. From orbit, the Xiphorian ship projected a holographic simulation of a major city. Using precise energy beams, they removed dangerous debris without harming civilians, and neutralized a simulated threat with careful accuracy. Gasps and applause followed the demonstration. Earth's leaders saw that the Xiphorians were not only powerful, but disciplined. Their power could be terrifying if misused, but it could also be used to protect, as Kyra promised. Even so, the question remained, could humans truly trust her? Rion knew that trust was not built overnight. He proposed an exchange program. A short delegation from Earth would visit the Xiphorian homeworld to learn about their culture, and Xiphorian representatives would visit Earth to understand humans. This way, both species could build mutual understanding before any final decision. The council agreed cautiously. Humanity would send a small delegation of scientists, diplomats, and strategists. Rion would accompany them as the human envoy. The journey would be dangerous, but necessary. Meanwhile, Rion continued his conversations with Kyra aboard her ship. They spent long hours discussing philosophy, strategy, and ethics. He learned that her culture valued honor, wisdom, and careful planning above all. Violence was a last resort. Humans, she said, were unusual, emotional, creative, and unpredictable, but capable of courage and loyalty. You have seen only a small part of my world, Kyra said. Yet even this small part shows why trust is necessary. Your species has strengths I admire. If you can show wisdom, we can prevent war together. Rion nodded. He was beginning to understand the balance of power. Kyra's offer was not a trick. It was a test. Could humans rise to meet the challenge, proving that they were worthy of respect and peace? The journey to the Xiphorian homeworld was tense. Rion and the human delegation traveled in a sleek shuttle, observing stars and distant planets along the way. The delegation consisted of engineers, scientists, and diplomats, all carefully chosen for their intelligence and discretion. When they arrived, they were greeted with extraordinary hospitality. The Xiphorian cities were unlike anything humans had seen. Towers shimmered with light, energy flowed in visible streams along pathways, and the people moved with grace and precision. Every detail seemed carefully designed to blend technology and nature. Rion noticed how the Xiphorians interacted. They did not rush. Every action had purpose. Their leaders, aside from Kyra, were calm and respectful. Yet there was a hint of scrutiny. They observed humans closely, trying to understand their intentions. During the first formal meeting, a senior Xiphorian diplomat spoke. Humans are clever, he said, but we have seen fear and hesitation. Trust is fragile. You must show understanding and courage if this alliance is to succeed. Rion responded carefully. We are willing to learn. We may be cautious, but our caution comes from care for our people. We seek peace, not conquest. Over the next days, the delegation witnessed Xiphorian society in depth. They saw advanced schools, training programs, and research facilities. Humans were impressed by the blend of logic and creativity, by the discipline and learning, and by the elegance of technology. Yet they also noticed that the Xiphorians were highly strategic. Nothing was left to chance. Some humans were skeptical. "Can we trust them fully?" whispered one engineer to Rian. "Even if they show restraint now, what if they change their minds?" Rian understood the concern. Trust would not be given freely. It had to be earned. And humans had to prove themselves capable of more than fear. They had to demonstrate courage, intelligence, and loyalty. During one evening, Rian and Kyra walked along a balcony overlooking the city. Lights shimmered below, and distant stars filled the sky. Kyra spoke softly, almost personally this time. "Humans are unusual," she said. "You feel deeply, act unpredictably, yet possess courage I have rarely seen. That is why I chose you. My offer is bold because the risk is great, but great risks can bring great rewards." Rian looked at her, understanding that this was more than politics. There was a subtle respect, even curiosity, in her gaze. "I hope my people can live up to your expectations," he replied. "We are not perfect, but we are capable of learning and of bravery." Kyra nodded. "Then we will see if trust can grow. Only time and actions will decide." As the delegation prepared to return to Earth, Rian felt a mixture of relief and apprehension. He had learned much, but the hardest challenge remained, convincing humanity that this bold proposal could work. Some would resist, some would doubt, and some might even act against peace out of fear. The journey back was quiet, with humans reflecting on what they had seen. For the first time, they understood that the galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of possibilities. Kyra's proposal was not just about marriage, it was about survival, diplomacy, and proving that humans could rise to meet challenges far beyond their world. When they landed, the council awaited their report. Rian knew the real work had begun. Words alone would not be enough to convince humanity. They would need clear evidence of trust, wisdom, and courage. The choice before them was not easy, but the consequences of failure were unimaginable. Humanity was at a crossroads. A single decision, a single alliance, could change the future forever. And somewhere, across the stars, Queen Kyra waited, patient and calm, ready to see if humans were worthy of the peace she offered. The human delegation prepared for the journey to the Xiphorian homeworld. This time, they would spend more than a few hours on the alien ship. They would see the heart of Kyra's civilization. Scientists, diplomats, and engineers packed carefully, carrying equipment to study technology and notebooks to record culture and practices. Rian led the team. Though they were excited, there was an undercurrent of tension. Humans were entering a world that had been feared for centuries. One mistake could damage the fragile trust they were trying to build. Upon arrival, the delegation stepped onto a landing platform surrounded by a sprawling city. Towers shimmered with translucent energy, connected by bridges that seemed suspended in midair. Streets glowed softly, guided by lights that pulsed like living veins. Humans paused, stunned. The Xiphorian world was breathtaking, organized, elegant. And unlike anything they had imagined, Kyra greeted them personally. She did not bow or offer formalities like humans expected. Instead, she extended her hand, a gesture of welcome. "You are now in our home," she said. "Observe, learn, and ask questions." Understanding is the foundation of trust. The delegation split into smaller groups, each assigned to study different aspects of Xiphorian life. Scientists examined energy systems that powered buildings, engineers observed transportation that defied gravity, and diplomats recorded social interactions and governance. Rian stayed close to Kyra, observing not just the society, but the way she led it. "It is unlike Earth in every way," one engineer whispered. "Every device, every building, even the streets feel alive." Kyra overheard and smiled. "Life and technology are not separate in our world. Energy flows through everything, as it does through us. We have learned to respect it, not to dominate it." The delegation noticed that Xiphorians moved with grace and precision. Every action had purpose. Children were trained in logic, strategy, and cooperation from a young age. Adults engaged in debate, research, and diplomacy with patience and care. There were no visible weapons in the streets, yet a quiet power radiated from every citizen. Rian realized that this was a society built not only for strength, but for harmony. They are disciplined, yet creative, he said to his team, and they value learning above all. Despite the beauty, there were moments of tension. Cultural misunderstandings arose. Humans, curious and bold, sometimes asked questions that Xiphorians considered too personal. Xiphorians, direct and precise, occasionally offended humans with blunt statements about behavior and customs. Rian stepped in to mediate, translating and explaining intentions. We must show respect, even when we do not understand everything, he reminded the team. They will judge us by how we act, not just by what we say. One evening, Kyra invited Rian to a ceremony in a large plaza. Energy beams danced overhead, in intricate patterns, forming shapes and symbols that humans could not decipher. Xiphorians moved in perfect synchronization, performing tasks that combined skill, strength, and beauty. This is a demonstration of unity, Kyra explained. Our strength comes from coordination, understanding, and trust. Chaos weakens us. Cooperation strengthens us. You may see parallels in your own species if you look closely. Rian watched carefully. He saw that humans had moments of brilliance, but also conflict and impulsiveness. He understood that building trust with Kyra and her people would require patience and discipline, qualities humans would need to demonstrate consistently. However, the delegation's visit was not without danger. A small faction of Xiphorians opposed the alliance. They believed humans were weak, untrustworthy, and unworthy of a bond with their queen. One night, the faction attempted to sabotage the human quarters by tampering with life support systems. Rian and his team detected the anomaly quickly. Using their training and combined knowledge with Xiphorian engineers, they neutralized the threat before anyone was harmed. The rogue faction was contained. But the incident reminded everyone that not all Xiphorians agree with Kyra's vision. Kyra approached Rian afterward. You acted wisely. Humans may be unpredictable, but you showed courage and quick thinking. This proves that your species can rise to challenges, even under pressure. Rian felt a mix of pride and concern. Thank you, Your Majesty. But this also shows that there are dangers we cannot ignore. Some will resist peace. Even among your people, Kyra nodded. Every society has those who resist change. That is why trust must be earned, not demanded. You have taken a first step, and your people will see this act as proof of humanity's value. Over the next few days, Rian and the delegation continued their studies. They learned about Xiphorian governance, which balanced logic, debate, and shared responsibility. They observed advanced medical technology that healed without surgery, and energy systems that provided power without pollution. Humans were amazed by the possibilities, yet Rian was mindful of the underlying lesson. Strength alone did not make a species worthy of alliance. Discipline, wisdom, courage, and respect for life mattered just as much. Before leaving, Kyra and Rian walked together on a balcony overlooking the glowing city. You have seen much of my world, she said. Do you understand why I proposed the alliance? Rian nodded. I see that your offer is not about power alone. It is about trust, honor, and the possibility of cooperation. Your people are capable of greatness, but also cautious. Like us. Kyra's eyes softened. Then you understand. This is more than a marriage proposal. It is a challenge to humanity to show that you can rise to meet new responsibilities. Can your species do this? Rian felt the weight of her question. He knew that the next step would be convincing humanity that peace was possible, and that the bold offer of an alliance through marriage was not a threat, but an opportunity. As the human delegation prepared to return to Earth, Rian reflected on what they had learned. The Xiphorians were not perfect, but they were disciplined, intelligent, and honorable. Humanity had much to prove, and every action would be observed carefully. Back on Earth, the world waited for the report. People were anxious, curious, and hopeful. Rian knew that his account of the Xiphorian homeworld would shape opinions, and that the future of peace depended on humanity's ability to trust, understand, and act wisely. The journey had shown that the galaxy was vast, full of unknown wonders and challenges. Kyra's bold proposal was not just about her, it was a test for humanity itself. Would they rise to meet it, or fall to fear and doubt? Rian looked to the stars as their shuttle departed the Xiphorian world somewhere beyond the light, Queen. Kyra watched, patient and observant. The real challenge, the test of trust and courage, was only just beginning. The Earth Council convened again, this time in a vast hall filled with representatives from every continent. The room buzzed with tension. News of the delegation's visit to the Xiphorian homeworld had spread, and now humanity faced a choice unlike any before: accept Queen Kyra's proposal and form a marriage alliance, or reject it and risk a potential conflict with a species far more advanced than humans. Rian stood at the center, his mind calm but determined. He recounted everything. They had seen the beauty, the discipline, and the intelligence of Xiphorian society. He explained how the humans in the delegation had acted with courage and problem-solving, especially when the rogue faction tried to sabotage the mission. This is our chance to prevent war. Rian said, it is not easy to accept such a proposal, but Kyra's offer is genuine. The Xiphorians are not demanding submission, they are asking for trust, a bond that can ensure the safety of our species. Many representatives remained skeptical. We cannot allow one human to make a commitment that affects the entire planet. Ambassador Lyre argued, this is too risky. What if we are deceived? Dr. Mara stepped forward. Trust is never without risk, but we have seen evidence of their integrity. They showed us their world, their technology, and even their vulnerabilities. The rogue faction tried to sabotage us, yet the leaders of their society acted responsibly. This is proof that their offer is not a trick. Rian spoke again. The choice is ours. We must think not only of the present but of the future. If we refuse, we risk unnecessary conflict. If we accept, we have the chance to form an alliance that will save millions of lives and open new possibilities for humanity. The council debated long into the night. Philosophers discussed ethics. Scientists analyzed technology, and politicians weighed the balance of power. Citizens across the planet followed the news closely, discussing the decision in homes, schools, and workplaces. Fear mixed with hope. Some humans opposed the idea entirely. Marriage to an alien, one representative exclaimed, it goes against everything we know. Others argued pragmatically, we do not know what the future holds, but this alliance could be our best chance to survive and thrive in a galaxy full of dangers. After hours of discussion, the council agreed to hold a global referendum. Humanity would have a voice in this monumental decision. Citizens from all nations would vote on whether to accept Kyra's proposal. It was a tense moment. For the first time, humans would collectively choose their place among the stars. While the referendum was prepared, Rian reflected on his time with Kyra. Their conversations had revealed a side of her that few could understand. She was not only a ruler, but also wise, thoughtful, and surprisingly considerate of human perspectives. He recalled one evening on her homeworld, standing with her on a balcony, overlooking the glowing city. She had asked him, softly, almost personally, do you believe your people are capable of courage and wisdom? Rian had answered honestly, I hope so. Humans have flaws, but we are also capable of great bravery, creativity, and loyalty. If we can rise to the challenge, we can achieve remarkable things. Kyra had nodded. Then the future may yet be brighter than you imagine. But courage alone is not enough. You must also show responsibility, respect, and understanding. Only then will peace endure. The referendum began, and millions of humans cast their votes. The debate was fierce, but the majority recognized the opportunity for peace. People remembered the images of the Xiphorian world, the discipline and intelligence of the alien race, and the courage shown by their own delegation. They weighed the risks, but realized that inaction could lead to disaster. Finally, the results were announced. Humanity had chosen to accept Kyra's proposal. Cheers erupted in cities around the world. Leaders, diplomats, and citizens celebrated. Cautiously, knowing that this decision was only the beginning of a historic partnership. Rian prepared for the next step, the ceremonial union. Though marriage in Xiphorian culture was different from human traditions, the symbolism was clear. It represented trust, cooperation, and a shared commitment to peace. Rian understood the gravity of his role. He was not just a representative. He was a bridge between two species. Kyra met him once more before the ceremony. "You have done well," she said. "Your people have shown wisdom and courage. Now, we take the next step. This bond will not be easy, but it will show the galaxy that humans can rise to meet great challenges." Rian bowed. "I am ready, Your Majesty, for humanity and for peace." The ceremony was held on a neutral space station orbiting a distant star. Humans and Xiphorians alike attended, witnessing the moment when two worlds pledged cooperation. Kyra and Rian stood before representatives, and the union was formalized according to Xiphorian tradition. Though different from human marriage, the bond was real and binding. It symbolized respect, trust, and mutual responsibility. In that moment, centuries of fear between humans and Xiphorians began to fade. After the ceremony, Rian addressed both delegations. "Today, we take a step into the future together. This bond is more than symbolism. It is a promise to work together, to learn from one another, and to protect both our species. Let this be the start of a new era." Kyra's eyes glowed faintly. "We have seen courage, intelligence, and honesty. We have learned from each other. The bond we share today is a foundation. Together, humans and Xiphorians can face challenges that neither could face alone." Humanity had taken a bold step. Rian felt a mixture of pride, relief, and anticipation. The journey had been difficult, full of uncertainty and fear. Yet the decision showed that humans were capable of wisdom, courage, and diplomacy on a galactic scale. As Earth watched from afar, a new chapter began. Humans were no longer isolated on their small planet. They had formed an alliance with one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Their role had changed from observers of the stars to participants in shaping the future. Rian looked to Kyra and then out at the stars. This was only the beginning. Challenges would come, but humanity had shown that they could rise to meet them with trust, courage, and understanding. They had proven that they were ready to claim their place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as allies, partners, and friends. The galaxy had watched, and humanity had made its choice. Peace was possible, and the bold proposal of an alien queen had changed everything. The galaxy had witnessed an unprecedented event. Humanity, once a cautious and isolated species, had formed an alliance with the powerful Xiphorians. The marriage bond between Rian and Queen Kyra became a symbol of trust, cooperation, and courage. On Earth, people watched the celebrations and reflected on what had been achieved. Rian returned to Earth briefly, greeted as a hero. Yet he felt a quiet responsibility, not pride. The union was not a personal victory. It was a promise of peace that humanity had made to itself and to the stars. Leaders, scientists, and citizens gathered to hear his report. "Today, we stand on the threshold of a new era," Rian said, addressing the crowd. "This alliance is more than a treaty. It is proof that humanity can rise to challenges beyond our world, that we can learn, adapt, and show courage when it matters most. The future is ours to shape, together with the Xiphorians." People listened, some with hope, others with lingering doubt. But the demonstration of Xiphorian technology, discipline, and fairness had convinced most that this bond was genuine. It was a promise backed by actions, not just words. Meanwhile, aboard the Xiphorian homeworld, Rian and Kyra worked together to strengthen the alliance. They coordinated programs for cultural exchange, joint research, and technological development. Humans were learning to operate advanced energy systems, while Xiphorians studied human creativity, problem-solving, and innovation. During one session, a Xiphorian engineer remarked, "Your species adapts in ways we did not anticipate. You combine imagination with logic, even under pressure." Rian smiled. "That is what humans do. We may stumble at first, but we learn quickly." Kyra observed quietly. And that is why the alliance will succeed. Trust and understanding grow. Through action, you have already shown the courage and intelligence necessary to maintain it. The rogue faction that had opposed the alliance gradually faded into the background. Their attempts to disrupt relations failed because humans and Xiphorians worked closely, anticipating problems and addressing them with precision. The incident had strengthened trust, showing that cooperation could overcome danger. Humanity's role in the galaxy began to expand, with Xiphorian guidance. Humans established joint research stations, interstellar trade routes, and educational programs. Young humans were trained in diplomacy, science, and ethics, preparing for a future among the stars. On Earth, the global perspective shifted. People realized that their small planet was part of a larger universe full of possibilities. Children dreamed of space travel not as a fantasy, but as a real future. Scientists and engineers felt inspired to push boundaries, knowing that collaboration with advanced allies could turn ideas into reality. For Rian, the bond with Kyra became more personal. Beyond the ceremonial promise, they shared discussions about values, strategy, and the challenges of leadership. Trust grew into a quiet friendship, built on mutual respect and understanding. One evening, standing on a balcony overlooking a Xiphorian city glowing under twin moons, Kyra spoke softly. "You have done well, Rian. Your people have grown through this alliance, and so have you?" Rian looked at her, feeling the weight of their shared responsibility. "It has not been easy, but it has been worth it. Humanity has learned much, and so have I. Together, we can face whatever the galaxy holds." Kyra's eyes glowed gently. The galaxy is vast and unpredictable, but courage, wisdom, and trust will guide us. We have shown that two species, different, yet alike in many ways, can build something greater than themselves. That is the true meaning of this bond. As months passed, the alliance strengthened. Joint missions explored uncharted star systems. Humans and Xiphorians collaborated to prevent conflicts on distant worlds, showing that diplomacy and courage could avert war. News of successful cooperation spread, inspiring other species to consider alliances rather than conflict. Rian reflected on the journey that had begun with a single bold proposal. Humanity had faced fear, uncertainty, and skepticism, yet by listening, learning, and acting with courage, they had transformed their destiny. The union with Kyra was more than symbolic. It was proof that trust and understanding could change the course of history. Back on Earth, celebrations continued. People marveled at the stories of the Xiphorian cities, the technology, and the peaceful bond forged by one human and one alien queen. Schools taught the lessons of diplomacy and courage. Leaders emphasized that strength alone was not enough. Wisdom, responsibility, and respect were just as vital. For Rian and Kyra, the journey was far from over. Challenges would arise in known species, new conflicts, and unexpected events, but they faced them together. Their bond was a beacon, showing that even across the vast distances of space, cooperation could prevail. In the council halls of Earth and aboard the Xiphorian world, leaders spoke of a future where humans and Xiphorians worked side by side. Trade, science, and culture flourished. Where once fear and misunderstanding might have ruled, now collaboration and curiosity guided decisions. Rian often returned to the balcony overlooking the city, thinking of Earth and the stars beyond. He knew that humanity had changed, no longer isolated. Humans had claimed their place in the galaxy not through force, but through courage, wisdom, and trust. Kyra stood beside him, silent but observant. "This is only the beginning," she said. "The galaxy will test us again, but we are prepared, together. Humans and Xiphorians can face any challenge." Rian nodded. "And we will. The lessons we have learned, the trust we have built, will guide us through whatever comes next." As they looked out at the glowing city, the twin moons, and the stars beyond, a sense of hope and possibility filled the air. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, proving that courage, understanding, and cooperation could overcome fear and uncertainty. The galaxy had watched, and humanity had risen to meet the challenge. A new era had begun not just for humans and Xiphorians, but for all species who might choose trust over conflict, collaboration over conquest. Rion and Kyra stood side by side, symbols of a bond that had changed history. The universe was vast and unpredictable, but for the first time, humans felt ready to meet it. Peace had been chosen, trust had been proven, and humanity's journey among the stars had only just begun. The Earth Council convened again, this time in a vast hall filled with representatives from every continent. The room buzzed with tension. News of the delegation's visit to the Xiphorian homeworld had spread, and now humanity faced a choice unlike any before: accept Queen Kyra's proposal and form a marriage alliance, or reject it and risk a potential conflict with a species far more advanced than humans. Rion stood at the center, his mind calm but determined. He recounted everything. They had seen the beauty, the discipline, and the intelligence of Xiphorian society. He explained how the humans in the delegation had acted with courage and problem-solving, especially when the rogue faction tried to sabotage the mission. This is our chance to prevent war. Rion said, it is not easy to accept such a proposal, but Kyra's offer is genuine. The Xiphorians are not demanding submission, they are asking for trust, a bond that can ensure the safety of our species. Many representatives remained skeptical. We cannot allow one human to make a commitment that affects the entire planet. Ambassador Lyre argued, this is too risky. What if we are deceived? Dr. Mara stepped forward. Trust is never without risk, but we have seen evidence of their integrity. They showed us their world, their technology, and even their vulnerabilities. The rogue faction tried to sabotage us, yet the leaders of their society acted responsibly. This is proof that their offer is not a trick. Rion spoke again. The choice is ours. We must think not only of the present but of the future. If we refuse, we risk unnecessary conflict. If we accept, we have the chance to form an alliance that will save millions of lives and open new possibilities for humanity. The council debated long into the night. Philosophers discussed ethics. Scientists analyzed technology, and politicians weighed the balance of power. Citizens across the planet followed the news closely, discussing the decision in homes, schools, and workplaces. Fear mixed with hope. Some humans opposed the idea entirely. Marriage to an alien, one representative exclaimed, it goes against everything we know. Others argued pragmatically. We do not know what the future holds, but this alliance could be our best chance to survive and thrive in a galaxy full of dangers. After hours of discussion, the council agreed to hold a global referendum. Humanity would have a voice in this monumental decision. Citizens from all nations would vote on whether to accept Kyra's proposal. It was a tense moment. For the first time, humans would collectively choose their place among the stars. While the referendum was prepared, Rion reflected on his time with Kyra. Their conversations had revealed a side of her that few could understand. She was not only a ruler, but also wise, thoughtful, and surprisingly considerate of human perspectives. He recalled one evening on her homeworld, standing with her on a balcony, overlooking the glowing city. She had asked him, softly, almost personally, do you believe your people are capable of courage and wisdom? Rion had answered honestly, I hope so. Humans have flaws, but we are also capable of great bravery, creativity, and loyalty. If we can rise to the challenge, we can achieve remarkable things. Kyra had nodded. Then the future may yet be brighter than you imagine. But courage alone is not enough. You must also show responsibility, respect, and understanding. Only then will peace endure. The referendum began, and millions of humans cast their votes. The debate was fierce, but the majority recognized the opportunity for peace. People remembered the images of the Xiphorian world, the discipline and intelligence of the alien race, and the courage shown by their own delegation. They weighed the risks, but realized that inaction could lead to disaster. Finally, the results were announced. Humanity had chosen to accept Kyra's proposal. Cheers erupted in cities around the world. Leaders, diplomats, and citizens celebrated. Cautiously, knowing that this decision was only the beginning of a historic partnership. Rian prepared for the next step, the ceremonial union. Though marriage in Xiphorian culture was different from human traditions, the symbolism was clear. It represented trust, cooperation, and a shared commitment to peace. Rian understood the gravity of his role. He was not just a representative. He was a bridge between two species. Kyra met him once more before the ceremony. "You have done well," she said. "Your people have shown wisdom and courage. Now, we take the next step. This bond will not be easy, but it will show the galaxy that humans can rise to meet great challenges." Rian bowed. "I am ready, Your Majesty, for humanity and for peace." The ceremony was held on a neutral space station orbiting a distant star. Humans and Xiphorians alike attended, witnessing the moment when two worlds pledged cooperation. Kyra and Rian stood before representatives, and the union was formalized according to Xiphorian tradition. Though different from human marriage, the bond was real and binding. It symbolized respect, trust, and mutual responsibility. In that moment, centuries of fear between humans and Xiphorians began to fade. After the ceremony, Rian addressed both delegations. "Today, we take a step into the future together. This bond is more than symbolism. It is a promise to work together, to learn from one another, and to protect both our species. Let this be the start of a new era." Kyra's eyes glowed faintly. "We have seen courage, intelligence, and honesty. We have learned from each other. The bond we share today is a foundation. Together, humans and Xiphorians can face challenges that neither could face alone." Humanity had taken a bold step. Rian felt a mixture of pride, relief, and anticipation. The journey had been difficult, full of uncertainty and fear. Yet the decision showed that humans were capable of wisdom, courage, and diplomacy on a galactic scale. As Earth watched from afar, a new chapter began. Humans were no longer isolated on their small planet. They had formed an alliance with one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. Their role had changed from observers of the stars to participants in shaping the future. Rian looked to Kyra and then out at the stars. This was only the beginning. Challenges would come, but humanity had shown that they could rise to meet them with trust, courage, and understanding. They had proven that they were ready to claim their place among the stars, not as conquerors, but as allies, partners, and friends. The galaxy had watched, and humanity had made its choice. Peace was possible, and the bold proposal of an alien queen had changed everything.